Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I'm gonna propose an idea, a concept that will seem otherworldly at first glance, but has a lot of benefits. But I think there are a lot of rough edges to iron out, and I will invite you to join me in ironing out all the rough edges of this idea and help see this concept come to fruition. So, this concept comes from what happened on my last vacation to Kerrville, Texas, to view the solar eclipse. During the trip, I came to find that it wasn't so much taking time off of work that I desperately needed. It wasn't so much even the solar eclipse. It wasn't even the needing to get away from, I have bad blood between myself and a few colleagues, not many, but a few. And certainly we have problematic students, although problematic students are kind of beautiful to work with too. But it was nice to get away from that. It was nice to get away from work. It was nice to see the solar eclipse, but there was one thing that trumped all of that. I'll let you pause the video to think about it. Well, I slept very well, and I was eating very well. There's one caveat, though. I was sleeping very well because I was sleeping whenever the fuck I wanted to, right? If I couldn't fall asleep at 1 a.m., it was no big deal. If at 3 in the afternoon I was tired, it was no big deal either. Similarly, I was eating very well because it was all on my own timetable. If I didn't have an appetite at 5 o'clock, no big deal. It's not like I have to teach a class at 6 and that's my only time to eat, right? So I never had to force food down my throat, right? Conversely, if I wanted to eat, I never had to think about hygiene issues, right? So I have a class to teach at 6. I might not want to eat something that smells really bad at 5, especially if I'm at the office. I can't really brush my teeth or anything like that, right? And so the work environment pigeonholed when and where I can eat, what I could eat, and it pigeonholed how I could sleep, right? So, for example, during the drive between Phoenix and Kerrville, I was actually sleeping multiple times a day. And I actually slept a lot less than 8 hours a day, believe it or not, because I was sleeping very efficiently. I can't do that back home when I'm working because the hours might not line up with my work, right? And also the campus that I'm teaching at doesn't really have a good place to sleep, right? Even if I could pull off the hours to line up. So it made me think about, what if we had a society where work didn't have to happen on a schedule? Now, you might think that's complete chaos. Let me propose how this might work. So yesterday, I had a really nice dinner at a steakhouse in El Paso. Now, that steakhouse might be open, I don't know, 14 hours, 16 hours during the day, right? And you might have waiters who have shifts that are, I would imagine most of them are part-time workers. They're working 20, 30, 40 hours a week. Now, imagine you could sign up to work at that steakhouse. Let's say you want to sign a contract that you're working 30 hours a week. Now, what if you could allow those 30 hours to free flow? You could go and you can come and go whenever you want. Now, you might say that would be chaos, but if you stop and think about it, customers of that steakhouse don't sign. I guess some people do form reservations. I didn't. They go in and out whenever they please, right? And you can usually get a sense of how many customers are in there, right? So why can't that happen on the employee side of things, right? Now, you might say, well, what about if everybody wants to go out during a certain time? Well, we did kind of have that situation 2 days ago when everybody wanted to go from El Paso to Kerrville. It's no big deal if that steakhouse is just not going to be open during that time, right? Now, if it's a really emergency service, right, if it's a really essential working situation, you might pay more during those hours to incentivize people, but you could still have it free float, right? So for example, you might have employees that are working 10, 20, 30, 40 hours, but you might put an incentive that if you're going to come to work during the solar eclipse time, we'll pay you 2x, 3x, whatever it is, right? So for example, the local hospital might do that, right? And actually right now there might be a lot of people checking into the hospital from eye damage, right? Especially here in the Texas area. So you get the idea, right? And what would be the benefit of it? Well, people would then sleep and eat whatever the fuck they want. They would be so much more productive. Healthcare costs would be a lot lower. And I'm not sure how this would work in a classroom setting, though. People need that in-person instruction. But I will think about this. This is one of those ideas that I think has a lot of ironing out to do, but I think can work. And it's my dream to see it work one day. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum.